Beethoven lived in an era of formal gardens. And although it's quite a contrast, it was also the era of the Industrial Revolution, a period that we generally associate with such social implements as the cotton gin. That was also a period which produced numerous gadgets and machinery in the field of music, the most familiar of which is, of course, the metronome. The metronome was invented by Johann Nepomuk Melzel. He is also the man who perfected this, a mechanical trumpet player. This trumpet player played all the standard concertos of the day, usually with live orchestral accompaniment. One early reviewer who heard him play said that his tone was much superior to a live trumpet player because it was not tarnished with moisture. Melzel also invented a mechanical violoncellist and a great theatrical machinery piece called The Burning of Moscow, which belched forth fire and smoke and rained snow upon the audience and told of the retreat of Napoleon from Moscow. During his lifetime, Melzel was associated with a constant effort to perfect a mechanical orchestra, which he called a panharmonicon. One early model he sent to Boston in 1811. Unfortunately, it failed to survive the New England winter, and it only gave forth a few wheezes. Embarrassed apologies followed in the local newspapers, money was refunded, and the instrument was recrated and placed on a boat for a return trip to Europe. Unfortunately, that model was lost at sea, but I hasten to add that is only the official version. I prefer to think of a group of journey-weary sailors looking for entertainment. They uncrate the panharmonicon and become frightened by the sound of it. They throw it overboard. Melzel produced another model in 1816 that was more successful. It also was sent to Boston, and the local newspapers tell us that it played to standing room only crowds 4 evenings a week for almost a year. It played overtures of Mozart and Haydn. It was powered by a series of weights. The music was engraved on a cylinder, and all the early writers agree that it actually played the instruments. It actually played the oboe. It actually played the violin. Well, that's very difficult to believe. Probably it was a marriage between a kind of Wurlitzer theater organ and a music box. By the way, Melzel lived in the United States in his later life in Philadelphia, where he was very famous for having been a friend of Beethoven, and died off the coast of South Carolina on a ship. It's very difficult today to appreciate the terror that Napoleon struck in the hearts of Western Europe. Certainly we can see the sense of relief and celebration everywhere evident in 1813, which was the year in which the first time the troops of Napoleon were defeated in the field. I suppose the Battle of Leipzig must have been celebrated in 100 musical compositions. Beethoven was at this time, to this extent, an ordinary man. He had genuine feelings of patriotism, and he wanted to put his music at work for the people. Therefore, he was immediately intrigued when Melzel came forth with the proposition of building yet another panharmonicon to the specifications of a score Beethoven might compose. We shall never know what Melzel had in mind, because in the end Beethoven created a score, the instrumentation of which was so vast that Melzel could not build a machine large enough to play it. We do know what Beethoven had in mind because the original score survives, and it is in Leipzig today. And here is the title page. It says, "On Wellington's victory at Victoria, 1813, written for Mr. Melzel, Ludwig von Beethoven." Our performance is based on this Leipzig copy. We perform this with one player on a part, and so you'll see it's a very large instrumentation. We make 2 substitutions. We substitute a contraclarinet for the contrabassoon, and there is an unidentified bass part consisting of 2 long tones, which we give to the tuba. I should like to make one more point about this score. It seems to me a very crucial point because it is this which separates this work from those musical curiosities of Mozart and Haydn written for music boxes of their day. We know that Beethoven intended that this work would be engraved by Melzel on the cylinder of his Panharmonicon. But Beethoven did not imagine that he was writing for a machine. He did not write in piano score. He wrote in a full instrumentation for a military band. To cite only one example of proof, Beethoven wrote in this score for natural horns and natural trumpets. Obviously, if he were writing for the machine, he would not have to suffer the limitations of those instruments. And so we have here a large, authentic work for a military band by Beethoven, a work he always referred to as a symphony, the Victory Symphony. While Beethoven intended this work to be communicated on a broad, popular level, it follows that we cannot expect that it be his most pretentious work. But it is the essential Beethoven, and as one critic so accurately observed, there is no mistaking the claws of the lion.